Broaden our minds. Lawrence?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back to another Slavs Free Talk podcast. It's been a week. I don't know if I'm coming down with something. I don't know. Kind of feel something up in my face here. Anyways, we're going to talk about a plethora of topics this week. Karate Kid, Daredevil, Halo, DC, Superman stuff, and some breaking news that just kind of dropped a couple hours, not even a couple hours ago, just a little bit ago. We're going to talk about that here. So sit back, relax, and actually don't relax. Get involved with the discussion. Get in that chat. Everybody, just come on. Let's just talk about all this. Let's go. Let's go. What's going on, everyone? Sorry, I'm a little animated today. I hope you're all doing well. Let everybody get in to the show. Hope everyone's doing well and fine and dandy. Hope you all had a chance to check out the video I dropped earlier today. You know, I'm posting videos still. I know people. There's a handful of people, at least a handful, maybe more, that want me to continue calling out and highlighting those who are spreading misinformation, false information from the Snyder loyalists, the Snyder cult, the Snyder fanboys, whatever you want to call them. And I promised that I would continue doing it. And that was what the video today was all about. So I just want to let you all know I am going to continue doing it. But again, the way that I do it is it has to be blatantly misinformation, lies, that kind of stuff. I'm not just going to, if it's just somebody that goes out there and just says, I like Snyder more than Gunn and Gunn is stupid, like that's an opinion. What the video that I posted today was about somebody who was spreading misinformation. And again, it's that type of stuff that I want to make sure that I go after. You know, we got to make sure that these people that constantly want to spread lies about the new DC studios and the DCU, that misinformation needs to just be put to a stop and put to an end, and it's just got to stop. So that's what that video was about. If you checked it out by any chance. We got Hope for Life in here, says, good to see you, man. How's it going? We got our usuals. Matthew got it. Obviously, Harrison is too old. Oh, it looks like you're talking about one of the topics we're going to talk about, which is Indiana Jones. Yes, there is a possibility for another Indiana Jones movie, which is very, very interesting indeed. I don't know why, but Lucasfilm just wants to. I mean, honestly, Lucasfilm doesn't have many IPs to play with, so I guess it makes a little bit of sense there for sure, I guess. But all right, well, let's kind of get into it. I know I don't want to keep everybody who is here waiting. Hunter Iggy says, I just sent you a message on your Twitter page. I did see a message a little bit ago. I did respond to it. I don't know if you saw that response. All right, first topic. This is the breaking news, the kind of breaking news. So Joker 2 is said already to release on digital platforms on October 29th. It is that big of a failure. It bombed that big, that badly, that it's only going to be in theaters exclusively for 25 days before you can then rent it digitally or own it digitally. I'm sure you'll be able to buy it for probably like $35, or you can rent it digitally for probably $25. That is insane. It's not shocking that they're throwing it out there as quick as possible. Nobody's making money on this thing. Not a single person is making money on this movie. The theaters aren't, the studio isn't. It's lost. It's looking that it's going to lose the studios around $150 to $200 million. That is absolutely horrific. And again, I'm going to be honest. I didn't think it was going to do this badly. I didn't. But the movie is just that bad. And when it's that bad, when the audience didn't want it and a movie is just not that good, that is a recipe for disaster. And that's what happens. There was no need for a sequel to the first Joker. The first one came out at a time where people wanted a movie like that, and it just hit a certain little section in people's brains where it just became a $1 billion hit. And I understand why the studio felt the need to go and try to do another one, but sometimes you don't have to, especially whenever getting your three main pieces to make that movie specifically was already going to cost you $50 million. Todd Phillips, Queen Phoenix, and Lady Gaga in total cost around $50 million just to bring in, which was almost the entire budget of the first movie. So why even bother at that point? It just didn't make much sense to me. Again, I didn't think it was going to do this bad. Like I said, I thought that it had the potential to get close to the billion, but wow, this is horrific. This is terrible. Uh, but hey, I mean, you live and you learn, right? You live and you learn. Just move on. This is the old Warner Brothers DC stuff. This is the last of it. Just move on from it. It's done. It's over with. Move on to new, brighter days, newer things. Right? Right? Is it that's how we got to look at it now. At this point, we just move on. It's done. It's over with. All right, Lee Humphreys joined. How's it going? What you gonna be talking about today? We got a bunch of stuff. Obviously, we just talked about Joker. We got a bunch of stuff. Don't worry. Let's see. Matthew Gaudette says you are correct, sir. THX 1138 and American Graffiti don't lend themselves to Disney, and they tried Willow, not a deep bench of IP. Hope for Life. This is what happens when you make a sequel to a film that needs no sequel. Matthew Gaudette, Gunn is the guy who would do justice to Howard the Duck, which is at Marvel, not Lucasfilm. Bunch he is busy with DC. Triton says, "Well, here I am." Nice. Welcome, Triton. Thank you for joining. Lee Humphreys, would you ever do a live video to be mainly about the discussions between Snyderverse fans and Gunverse fans or neutral DC fans? I've done things like that before, but I'm always open to do it again. No problem at all. Here's the thing, Lee. I am always open. I have an open invitation to anybody who wants to come on and even debate me and have a discussion about that. Believe it or not, I am more of a neutral party in this because I am a Snyder fan. I know it may not seem that way to some, but I am a Snyder fan. I was on the front lines, rooting for the Snyder cut. I have a poster here. I have my Justice League t-shirt over there, my dresser drawer. I have all the films. I'm a huge DC Snyder fan, but I'm also a big fan of James Gunn, what he's doing with the DC, and I'm looking forward to what he's going to be doing with the DC. So I'm more of a neutral party here. So I'm interested in having a conversation with people and trying to figure out why do they have such a toxic mindset and hatred for this type of stuff? But I'm always open to have more conversations about it. I did have a live probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago where I did just that. You can ask maybe somebody in the comment section here will remember that, and maybe they can point you in the right direction. But yeah, I mean, there's absolutely, I will probably do one again at some point. Absolutely, it'll probably happen. Whoops, here we go. Triton says, leave the pro DCU stuff for last so I can go to bed. Johnny Dome. Todd Phillips had full control. This shows sometimes directors getting their full vision is bad. Sometimes, yes, but I don't know if it's just that. I just think this didn't need a sequel. I just think that's what it's down to. Lee Humphreys, I'm not a part of the Snyderverse fan base or the Gunn fan base. I'm just mainly a neutral DC fan. Okay. I mean, I understand that. And I'm guessing you just want to hear the pros, cons, the different sides and angles of things. So it makes sense. Triton says, I first came into your YouTube life because you were addressing us Snyder fans in a live stream. Memories. Yes, back in my Bridging the Geekdom days, which I still I have hope that Bridging the Geekdom is going to come back at some point, but yes, I understand, Triton. I remember those days. Hope for life. I don't mind Snyder fans because in the end we're all DC. That's what matters. The problem is those few who are toxic, not on their side, but on the other side as well. Matthew Goddard, I love Cavill as Superman, but Black Adam was horrible. It's really tough. That was his last appearance. Lee Humphreys, A at Johnny Dome. All right, moving on to the next topic. This is out of DC realm, but this is Karate Kid. Who doesn't love the Karate Kid? I mean, I'm kind of older than probably most of you here, but I'm a big fan of Karate Kid, and maybe you are a Karate Kid fan now because of Cobra Kai on Netflix, which actually started as a YouTube show, which is, you remember when YouTube made original shows? Do you guys remember that just a few years back? It's crazy. YouTube used to make original content that wasn't from creators like us, but they made original content, and then it got pushed over to Netflix, and Cobra Kai was a big hit. But now they're making another Karate Kid movie called Karate Kid Legends. And it's a little confusing to me because I'm looking forward to this because I like the original 2 Karate Kid movies. After that, I'm not too much of a fan. Now, I'm a little young to remember when they first came out. My brother's old enough to remember, but I'm a little young to remember when they first came out. But they're making this with Ben Wang, Ming-Na Wen, Ralph Macchio, and Jackie Chan. Now, the interesting thing is Jackie Chan was in the quote-unquote remake of Karate Kid that came out with Will Smith's son, Jaden Smith, back in, like, I think it was like 2012, 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. So maybe even earlier than that, somewhere around there. It was supposed to be like a reboot remake of the original Karate Kid, I thought. Maybe it is connected, maybe it's not connected, maybe it was loosely a sequel, not sequel, within the same universe of the original Karate Kid, not. Maybe that's what they're going for. But it's really interesting. It's really exciting, I guess. I don't know. I'm a Karate Kid fan. I think it's cool, but they got an official title, Karate Kid Legends. They're going to have a panel this coming week. It's going to be next to Craven and Venom the Last Dance, which nobody cares about either of those, honestly. I just don't. I think they're both going to be terrible films. The first 2 Venoms were horrendous, so I know the third one's going to be bad, and Craven is, I mean, come on. We had Morbius, we had Madam Web, and then we had the terrible Venom films. Can we have... Craven's going to be bad. Come on. So I think this is going to be the most exciting panel for Sony this week at New York Comic Con. I'm excited about that. So I don't know. Are you guys excited? I think this is kind of cool. Cobra Kai is going to be ending here within the next, I think, month. No, January. Is it December, January? I think they're finishing up Cobra Kai. So that ends, and then we get this Karate Kid film, which is really kind of exciting. It's not over. We got Cobra Kai and then this, but does it continue the story of Cobra? Man, there's so many questions that I hope we get answered at this panel. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. All right. Lee Humphrey says, I want to hear greats, bads, and overall misconceptions about DC projects. Okay. Well, this Thursday, I will be doing kind of something like that about James Gunn's, since James Gunn's been in control. I'll actually pull that up real quick. You'll see this Thursday, 2 years in, the good, the bad, the ugly, Thursday Watchtower. So you can definitely keep a lookout for that this Thursday. And again, it's just going to be talking about the last 2 years, what's been going on. And we can talk about a plethora of things there. So you can check that out. Matthew Goddard says, I also love Amy Adams as Lois, but it's time to start anew. These characters need to be refreshed for new generation fans. Yeah. Johnny Dome, I'm hyped. I am hyped for I Never Forget What You Did Last Summer in 2025, bringing most of the cast. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something there. Triton, I'm looking forward to both Craven and Venom 3. Haven't seen Madam Web yet, but I really like the first 2 Venom films, and I thought Morbius was genuinely decent. I know there's people out there that like the Venom films. I just don't know how you guys like those movies. I just don't get it. The first one especially. The first one is so bad. It's so bad. Craven, look, there's a possibility Craven's good. Morbius was horrendous. It was terrible. And Madam Web, let's not even talk about that. Like, that is one of the worst films that I've ever seen when it comes to the acting, the editing, the directing, the everything. Every aspect of that movie is just bad. Like, really, really, really bad. And I feel bad for everybody involved with that movie, that they are part of that movie. It's just, yeah, it's bad. Hope for Life. Like you, I've only liked the first two Karate Kid movies and the third one with Ralph Macchio. Those ones are good. I never watched the series, though. Cobra Kai. Oh, you got to watch Cobra Kai. Watch Cobra Kai. I'm telling you, it is a good time. Sure, it's got the kids soap opera-ish type of thing, but if you could get past that a little bit, because it does have Ralph Macchio in it, it has what's his name, William Zabka in it. It's got some of the grown-up themes as well because they're in it, but it focuses more on the kids, but it's still really good. Definitely check out Cobra Kai. It's excellent. Johnny Dome, it's a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer, the horror slasher. I know what you did last summer, but I didn't know they were making a sequel to it in 2025. That's kind of cool. Hope for Life. I'm more excited for the sequel to Smile 2 coming out. Oh man. I watched Smile last year, 2 years ago? Come on. Look, here's the thing with me in horror films. I'm somebody who wants to be scared in a horror film. All right. So I go into every horror film I watch wanting to be scared. I'm never scared in a horror film. I'm not. Now, are there horror films that scare me? Yes, there are, because I have a very strong belief in the paranormal. Very strong belief in paranormal. I'm a religious person, so I have a strong belief in paranormal stuff. So paranormal type of films can scare me. They can. But movies like Smile, that movie, I want to go into a horror film and be scared. And if it's a horror film and they put stupid jump scares in it and stupid premises, I just come out of it disappointed. That movie was not good to me. Another one that I thought was horrendous that a lot of people liked was Malignant. That movie came out a couple years ago. Everybody was raving about it. I legitimately laughed at that movie, not only because of how ridiculous it was, but that I actually guessed what was going on in that movie like 45 minutes to an hour before they revealed it. It was a bad film, but regardless. All right. Lee Humphreys, I'm mainly hyped for Superman. The Penguin is going really great so far. Let's see. Matthew got at DC needs renewal on comics and film standpoint. They need to stay true to their roots and make these characters vivid and alive. DCU died a horrific slow death and billions of dollars were wasted. Very true. Matthew, give me a Superman I can believe in and say, damn, that was a good, hopeful, optimistic movie. We're going to get that, man. All right. Moving on to the next topic. If you're a Marvel fan, get ready because Daredevil Born Again sounds like it's going to be a damn good movie. That's right. This is rumor, so take this with a grain of salt, but it seems like Marvel Studios has reportedly completed its first test screenings and have received very positive feedback for this series, which is real positive because I don't know if you remember this, but they shot like 3 or 4 or 5 episodes of this show originally, and they actually went back and scrapped it and reshot all of that. And they recast. They brought Foggy back in. They brought Karen back in that weren't originally in it. And remember, it was like Daredevil wasn't even going to be in costume for the first 3 or 4 episodes. Like, it was really bad at first. So the fact that they went back, they reshot all of this, and now we're seeing that, again, this is rumor, that these first test screenings have been received very well is very exciting. And it's stating that these run times per episode is approximately 1 hour per episode, which is fantastic. We're starting to see that some studios are starting to realize with these streaming shows that people want longer episodes. They don't want these 25, 28-minute long episodes. They want a little bit longer. That's what they want. So hopefully studios really start to understand this and give that to us. Hopefully. It says that there's several cameos, that there is a funeral scene that is featured in the first episode, and it's a darker, more mature, and grittier tone compared to the Netflix series. This is exciting stuff. This is really exciting stuff. Again, I am a huge fan of the Daredevil series that was on Netflix. Honestly, I was a fan of pretty much all the shows that were on Netflix for Marvel, with the exception of the first season of Iron Fist, because that first season of Iron Fist was terrible. The second season was good because they really didn't focus on Danny Rand. They started to focus on what's her face more so in that second season, and because she was a far better actress and a better, more compelling character, that was more enjoyable. But I digress. I'm excited about this. I hope that they really knock it out of the park with Daredevil Born Again, because I really, really believe that Daredevil or Marvel Television needs a huge win right now. Agatha, yeah, believe it or not, I'm watching it. Agatha is not doing it. It the ending of last episode was, oh my god, I laughed my ass off. I legitimately laughed my ass off in that final scene. The way that spoilers, I'm sorry, but the way Teen was standing there looking at the camera, but not looking at the camera, as the camera pulled back and he was trying to look all like intimidating. It was the most hilarious looking thing that I've ever seen in my entire life, shot on camera for a major television show ever. It was hilariously bad. It was so bad. And they're taking this like it is serious. It was horrible. So I legitimately think they need a huge win, and I think a show like Daredevil Born Again is going to be that win. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that it is as good as it's being made out to be. And that's the hope. I guess that the second half of the season, which is going to be the second 9 episodes, or season 2, maybe they're going to be calling it, is supposed to be starting to shoot like the beginning of 2025, like sometime in January or February or something like that. So they're really just pumping this out. They got season 1, part 1, whatever they're calling it, done, and then the second half is going to start in the beginning of 2025. But let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. All right, what do you guys got over here, huh? What's all right. John Rimmer, if you replace the Snyder fans with the Confederates and the people excited for the DCU with the North, makes perfect sense. A group of people who don't like change decide, oh man, what's going on here? Decide to rebel. Hope for Life, I get it. I've been watching horror movies since I was 5 years old. Smile, not necessarily that scary, but I like the whole premise, the stories, what I like about it. I gotcha. Lee Humphreys, you said rumor. A certain someone with an A and an F in their name will 100% believe it and start to beat down on it. Triton, John, USB Snyder fans don't support slavery like the Confederates did. Quit. Oh, geez. Triton, oh, shut up, Lee. Leave Aaron alone. He's not slagging you off. Show him the same respect. All right, Lee Humphreys, can you see that I was oh, geez. You guys are fighting within. All right. John Rimmer says no basis for that rumor, and Aaron. Oh man, okay. I am not gonna pull that stuff up here. When you guys are talking to yourselves, I'm just gonna let that be. So I'm gonna move on to the next topic here. This one is about Indiana Jones. This is coming from That Park Place. This is a rumor coming from there that says a young Indiana Jones movie is allegedly in development at Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm, according to Scooper WDW Pro. In a recent video upload to his WDW Pro YouTube channel, Scooper WDW Pro, why is his name so difficult to say, shared that a young Indiana Jones movie is in development at Lucasfilm. He relayed, I have a source who has been right in the past and tells me that it appears Lucasfilm is doing some developing, shall we say, maybe some preliminary work on what it would look like to do a young Indiana Jones movie in which Indy would be around the age of 14, would clearly not be played by Harrison Ford, and they may believe that's young enough that it wouldn't be a problem for the character to not be played by Harrison Ford. Pro then shared his own speculation. I don't care about his speculation, but that's the rumor. Now, I do know in the comments way up here in the beginning, Matthew Goddett, I want to pull this up, said something interesting. He said, obviously, Harrison is too old, but I don't want Disney to ruin Indy any further. Like on paper, recasting Luke Skywalker for Star Wars sounds fine, but we are talking about people who ruin things. So, Yes, Harrison Ford is obviously too old. So we don't want Disney, we don't want Lucasfilm, we don't want anybody to ruin Indiana Jones anymore. The last movie was not great. I agree. I don't hate the idea of them doing a young Indiana Jones, but I also don't think they need to do a young Indiana Jones. I don't understand what is wrong and why they are so against this idea of recasting these legacy characters. Look, I am one of the biggest Harrison Ford fans you may ever meet. I have seen probably every one of his films. I love Harrison Ford. I've loved Harrison Ford since I was a kid. I used to watch, look, when I was like 8, 9 years old, I was watching Clear and Present Danger and Patriot Games because of Harrison Ford. Like, what kid that age watches those types of movies? Like, I am a huge Harrison Ford fan, but I know that he's getting old. But the crazy thing is Indiana Jones is a character that is timeless. He's the type of character that can go on adventures for all of time to have fun and to explore different, just adventures. I'm sorry, for my kids, for other generations down the line. We shouldn't be stuck with it just of, well, it was just Harrison Ford that could ever play Indiana Jones. Like, I think that's wrong. And they're afraid, if this is true, they're so afraid about that. Like, the same thing happened again. Matthew sits here and says, like, on paper, recasting Luke Skywalker for Star Wars sounds fine, but we're talking about people who ruin things. They haven't recasted Luke Skywalker. They haven't recasted Princess Leia or General Leia. Like, they should have recast both of them. They're so adamant about using these special effects and CGI to make a face look younger and look just like Mark Hamill or look just like Carrie Fisher. And it's like, okay, the technology is cool, and I get that you want to push the bar with technology. I'm all for that. That's what Lucasfilm was known for in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s. That's great. That's what Lucasfilm is known for. I get that. But there comes a time when it's kind of like, let's just recast and focus on the technology around the actor. Let's make the world feel real and let the actor act. Let the actor become the character. And that's what they need to do. Again, I'm okay if they want to tell a really good story and do a young Indiana Jones. Look, we had young Indiana Jones Chronicles years ago, back in the 90s. Like, that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. We can do that as well. But I don't think Lucasfilm or Disney needs to sit there and be worried. I don't think they should have to worry about the audience being, well, that's not Harrison Ford. It's on. No, that's ridiculous. Like, at this point, Harrison rode off into the sunset. He did his Indiana Jones. He did his 5 films. It's done. It's over. All right. We need to cast somebody younger. And honestly, at this point, people may hate this, but I think they need to treat it almost like James Bond. And it's kind of like, okay, we get a new Indiana Jones and he does 5 movies or 3 movies, and then we get a new one, and then we get a new one. Just do it like that. Why not? Why not? Just have some fun with it. Do an Indiana Jones that's set in the 90s. Why not? Think outside the box a little, guys. Let's do something different. Let's do something different. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about this? Do you think they should go young Indiana Jones route? Do you think they should recast? Do you think they should just leave Indiana Jones alone? What do you think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Matthew Goddett says, Indiana Jones concluded with Indiana Chapel with Marion and Crystal Skull. I have to have Disney Star Wars and Lucas Star Wars separate as well, like JJ's Kelvin timeline. Honestly, look, I actually like Crystal Skull. Some people may think I'm crazy for it. I like, if I were to do my rankings of Indy, Crystal Skull would be probably 3 on my list. My third favorite, but I do like Crystal Skull. More than Temple of Doom, and then more than the last one for sure. But I will say this: I think that they need to just not be afraid of just recast. Indiana Jones is such a fun character, and I even think that they should have recast. I think the perfect choice would have been Chris Pratt. I mean, he might be getting up there in age now. He's in his 40s now, so you'd only get a few movies with him. But if they do the James Bond route with him, why not? Why not? Why not? Matthew said, "Oh wait, I skipped one. Sorry there." Triton says, "I'm going to say it: Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny greater than Temple of Doom." All right, I won't say Dial of Destiny is better than Temple of Doom. I haven't seen Dial of Destiny enough. I might have to watch it again to say that. But Crystal Skull is 100% better than Temple of Doom. 100%. I'm so happy I found somebody who agrees with me on that. Temple of Doom is so bad. It's so bad. I'm sorry. It is bad. And Kate Capshaw is so bad in that movie too. I don't know why people like her screaming constantly in it. Sorry, Spielberg. I know that was your wife at the time. So bad. So bad. Matthew says, I want the script David Cope wrote and Spielberg was going to direct for 5, but like the George sequels for Star Wars, it's just an idea in our mind's eye. I don't think I saw that script. I don't know. I don't know if I saw that one. I've seen a few different indie scripts and stories floating around the internet. I don't know if that's one of them I saw. Triton says, speaking of Bond, still nothing in regards to the next Bond film. I don't think we'll see anything for a while. Let's see. Triton says, number 1, Last Crusade, agree. 2, Raiders, agree. 3, Skull. Hey, we're lined up there. 4, Dial of Destiny. 5, Temple of Doom. Again, I gotta check Dial of Destiny and Temple of Doom. I gotta watch Dial. I've only seen it once. I gotta watch it again. Matthew says, to me, Craig was never Bond, the best actor ever for that role, and they made him something else, not Ian Fleming's James Bond. I tell you what, though, Matthew, when you talk about Daniel Craig, Casino Royale is still. Look, I was a huge James Bond fan. Again, when I was a kid, I was a weird little kid. Like when I was a little kid, I was watching all those James Bond movies too. I loved all those James Bond movies. And believe it or not, I was actually a really big Timothy Dalton fan too for James Bond. But, obviously Sean Connery, in hindsight, I loved Connery. But I was also a big Timothy Dalton fan. But getting back to what I was going to say, Casino Royale, for my money, for like that to me is a fantastic James Bond film, top to bottom, everything about it. But I agree. After that one, they started to get a little too loosey goosey with James Bond, with Daniel Craig's Bond films. There were still good action films, but it wasn't exactly James Bond after that point. They became more of a modern day, like Jason Bourne-esque action films. And what's crazy is that's what they were going for with Casino Royale, but they kind of pulled back a little bit in that movie. They had just enough of it in there, but it was still James Bond. And I love that movie. It is still my favorite James Bond movie. Man, I got to get moving, guys. I got so much more to go over. Triton says, in honesty, some days I'd put Crystal Skull above Raiders. Ooh, I would never do that. I'm sorry. I can't do that. Literally everything Raiders does is done better in Last Crusade. Yes, Last Crusade is better than Raiders, 100%, but I would never put Crystal Skull over Raiders. I could not do that. I can't do that. John Rimmer says, I really don't like Ford as Red Hulk. It doesn't fit. No mustache. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't give him a mustache. I don't know. Tito Yukwemi, are you watching Creature Commandos live? I will be watching Creature Commandos. I will be watching it when it comes out. Yes. Richard Lai, nobody's expecting Superman to be in the billions. I don't think Warner Brothers expect $1 billion. They're treating Superman 20 for 25 like WB did for Batman Begins 20 years ago. I could see that, yeah, but we'll get to that at some point here. All right. But yeah, moving on. I want to talk about this real quick. Rumor for Halo Studios. Apparently, this is coming from That Park Place. Halo Studios scrapped Halo Infinite 2 once they chose to develop new projects in Unreal Engine 5. Now, me being a big Halo fan was a little disappointed in this because I actually enjoyed Halo Infinite a good bit. The story specifically, I enjoyed it. I know that there's a lot of issues with it, but I did enjoy the story and I was looking forward to seeing where the story went. Now, this rumor comes from YouTube Rebs Gaming. He shared this information, which was shared with him by his source who he used my favorite Infinite Campaign reports was former Halo developer, reveals how Halo Studios' new leadership drastically changed the course for Halo's future. He elaborated, so right after Halo Infinite was released in December 2021, 343 campaign team began developing Halo Infinite 2 in the Slipspace engine. Next, he shared that his source told him they moved right over into Infinite 2 and started making stuff. They had so much high hopes for Infinite 2. Gameplay was there, keep the team together, and do a second pass to just improve. I think we could have done a good job. From there, he notes how this project was scrapped, but plans completely changed when new leadership took over in September of 22. They quickly decided to switch to Unreal Engine for future Halo games and canceled Halo Infinite 2 project. Interestingly, he then notes that Microsoft laid off the entire creative of 343 employees that were training in the Unreal Engine to begin work on the next Halo game. Furthermore, his source informed him the idea that when new leadership took over, that it somehow enabled more clarity into what was actually happening is laughable. Let's just say that campaign leadership never felt supported by new leadership. And I bet if you talk to most of the people that got laid off, they would say new leadership would outsource campaign content. It seems apparent that they did not support them given they were laid off. The rumor comes in the wake of Microsoft rebranding 343 Industries into Halo Studios and announcing it is completely changing the recipe for how they make Halo games, beginning with the development taking place in Unreal Engine 5. All right, so I talked about this last week. I was excited about Halo Studios, Unreal Engine 5. I saw the pictures of it. I was excited. I thought, hey, this could be a new change for Halo. I was excited, but hearing this makes me kind of upset because they took away the creative team. You can tell that they've really just not paid attention to what the fans want. The fans want, just a cohesive story. That is what we've been wanting. From Halo 1 to Halo 3, Halo Combat Evolved to Halo 3, we had a cohesive story. Then Halo 4, Halo 5, there was somewhat of a cohesive story. Then Halo Infinite just kind of got away from it. And now it looks like this next game isn't getting, that just disappoints me. Why? Why don't they understand that people just want a good cohesive story with Halo? That is what made the first 3 games so enjoyable. Not just the 3 games, but you had ODST and you had Halo Reach. Those were all cohesive. The stories all fit together narratively in some form or fashion. Now you see Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo Infinite. Like I said, 4 and 5 kind of fit together. Infinite, you don't really know. If you went from 4 or 5 to Infinite, you don't, there's no, where does that fit? You don't really understand. You have to have pieces explained to you to understand where 4 or 5 fits into Infinite. It seems like the same thing's going to happen here. And it's kind of disappointing that they're doing this. They had an opportunity to just say, okay, we're just going to switch to Unreal Engine and let's just continue this creative campaign this way. But they laid everybody off. There was reason for us to be excited about this change to Unreal Engine. But then stuff like this comes out and you're just kind of well, maybe there is no reason to be excited. Maybe it's just once again, they're resetting the story, and here we go again. Now it's just going to be lame again, and we got to do this all over again. It's just disappointing, and I don't know. It's you hear that, you hear all this stuff that's going on behind the scenes with them potentially focusing more on the whole DEI aspect, which is just, we know when companies put so much focus on that, they lose focus on actually making content. They're too focused on that instead of content. And it's just come on, we see what's going on in the game industry right now. We see games that are putting thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars into games, and then they come out and they fail miserably because they're not focusing on making a good game. And is that what's going to happen to the next Halo now? And is Halo just going to drift away and fade away? Like, it's so disappointing to see what's happening right now. Like, we had reason to be excited, and then this rumor comes out and it's kind of like, well, maybe we shouldn't be excited. Maybe I was a little too quick to get excited. I don't know, but let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I see your comment up here. I will grab it in a second, Otito. Triton says, I hope to God they stop resetting the story with every new Halo game. We haven't had a Halo game that actually continued on from its predecessor since Halo 4. That's so stupid. Exactly. That's what I was just saying. It's so dumb. So dumb. Triton also says, you want to see the full potential of Unreal? Go look at Gears 5 running on Series X, and that's on Unreal 4. Halo is going to be on Unreal 5. Expect an insane graphical powerhouse. Yeah, it's going to be phenomenal. Matthew Got It says, also, Casino Royale will always be tied to Chris Cornell in the opening theme. I miss Chris. Yeah, Chris Cornell. R.I.P. All right, Otito, he said, pure, honest opinion, Slav. Do you think Superman will be critically successful even with DC's mostly idiot Warner Brother exact stream of flops and can make people cynical of the movie? My honest opinion, do I think Superman will be critically successful? Yes, hands down. I believe Superman will be critically successful. Absolutely. Just take a look at Guardians 1, 2, and 3. James Gunn knows how to make good movies. He knows how to make fun, exciting, enjoyable films that will please the audience. He knows how to do that. He knows how to do it. He's a good writer. He's a damn good writer. He knows how to make a film that's enjoyable, that's fun to watch. That's why he's a good fit for Superman. He can make a film that is. I talk about it all the time. I talk about the three H's, the heart, humor, heroics that they use specifically in the CW Arrowverse. Heart, humor, heroics. Gunn is fantastic at that. Heart, humor, heroics, and an audience loves that. You take a look at Guardians of the Galaxy. All three of those films had heart, humor, heroics, and the audience loves it. So yes, critically, it's going to do fantastic. Now, how well will it do from that? That's to be debated, because how much humor is it going to have? How much heroics is it going to have? How impactful will it be? Because critically, it could do well. It could be, critically a critical darling. It could be fantastic. The critics could love it. But the audience could sit there and say, yeah, I like it, but it was only worth going to see one time. But if fans and critics love it and they want to go see it a second or third time, that's when the box office shoots up. If kids love it, that's when the box office shoots up. You see, so yeah, it could be critically loved because it's a good, well-written, directed movie. But do they want to go see it a second or third time? That's when the box office shoots up. All right. Triton says, meanwhile, like I said before on some of your Bridging the Geekdom streams, the Coalition, the studio making Gears, has been functioning just fine. Matthew says the Halo show was just okay with season 1 to season 2 was one of the worst things ever. Yeah, don't even get me started. John Rimmer, okay, the Confederate. Okay, you guys are still talking about that. All right, moving on to the next topic. DC stuff. So Triton, if you want to stick around, you can stick around. It's up to you. All right, DC stuff for the last 20, 25 minutes here. So DC. So it appears that James Gunn has confirmed that Supergirl and Lanterns are the only live action projects in pre-production. All right. So that's a little interesting because somebody even asked him, so Production Weekly, not so reliable. Somebody asked him about, because Production Weekly a couple weeks ago stated that The Authority was in production. And he goes, Production Weekly is very, very, very often completely wrong. No clue where they get their information from. Now, let's see. James Gunn, what projects are in pre-production? In live action, Supergirl and Lanterns. So there you have it. Those are the only two live action projects that are in pre-production. So what does that mean? Because we know there's a plethora of DC content that is supposed to be made right now, right? Like there's a whole bunch, like a whole bunch, right? Well, that's what we thought. Well, James Gunn assures everyone announced DCU project assures every announced DCU project is still coming despite lack of updates. So he goes, some scripts are in development, either looking for writers or being written or rewritten, he says. When scripts are finished, they're ready to be made. They are greenlit and then they are in production. He was then asked to clarify if it's safe to assume everything from the announced slate was in development, and Gunn simply replied, yes. Okay. So this kind of clarifies, because I know a lot of people were like, well, what does this mean? Or how does this, like, what does this all mean for everything? Because a lot of people get confused. A lot of people want to know what is going on. How is this going to happen? What is happening here? All right. So he made his announcement of all these films or projects, Paradise Lost and Supergirl and Superman and Creature Commandos and Waller and Booster Gold and all this stuff. Now, they had to specifically put things in order to shoot them and put them into production a certain way. Obviously, Superman was the first movie they wanted to get out the door first. The next one was Supergirl. We don't know what the next movie is going to be. There is rumor that the next one is going to be The Authority. That is rumor. But like he says here, Production Weekly says that it's in production. He says no clue where they get their information from. The only two that are in pre-production, though, are Supergirl and Lanterns. Everything else is currently being written. He has said in the past that films that are ready to go, they will not make a movie with a crappy script. And he says this on Threads today. He says, just to clarify, I said everything we originally announced was still in development, not that it's still coming. Okay. Well, that's interesting. That all depends on the scripts. Oh. We'll never put a half-assed script in production just because it was announced. Well, this is where he's going to get himself into trouble. This is really where he's going to get himself into trouble here. Because now you're going to have a bunch of people saying, well, why did he announce a bunch of projects if he says it's possible that it's not coming? Well, we've seen studios do this before. Marvel did this before. Other studios have done it before. This is a blunder on DC, 100%. On DC Studios, this is a blunder on James Gunn. This is a blunder on Peter Safran. I don't think that they should announce anything that they are not planning on releasing. But I understand where they're coming from. I understand that, look, you have plans. You're saying, hey, this is the slate of projects that we want to have come out. Oh crap, we can't get a script right. And then it doesn't come out. I get that. But the way you announce it then has to be done that way. The way you announce it has to be, well, these are the planned projects. These are what we're planning on doing. This is what we would like to do, pending us getting scripts, pending us getting the story right. These are what we wanted to have come out. But that's not how they presented it. So all those projects, Waller, Booster Gold, Swamp Thing, Brave and the Bold, all of that stuff, sure, it's still in development, but he hasn't confirmed, and he's not confirming that they're all still coming. This is going to be a field day for sure for all the naysayers of the DCU and DC Studios, let me tell you. That is worrisome. Like I said, it was not... I give James Gunn credit for being open about it here. I give him credit for that. But again, this was a bad call to announce these projects and then a year later, almost a year later, or more than a year later, whatever it's been, I don't even remember what it's been now, to then come out and say this. You don't come out and say this when people are expecting these projects. That's a problem. That is a problem. Uh, I think he needs to really come out this week at New York Comic Con with some big information, with some reveals like this is coming, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. Like he has to. There has to be bigger information in Creature Commandos now. This is damaging. This is damaging information coming from DC Studios and James Gunn. It's not deadly damaging, but it's damaging enough where there's going to be a lot of negative press on him in DC Studios for the next few weeks because of this, and it's bad. It's bad. Like I said, I am the neutral person here. I will talk positively about the DCU and DC Studios, but when they make bad decisions and make bad calls like this, and when he makes a mistake, I will call it out. And this was a bad call. This was a mistake right here. Very much so. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, though, about this. Again, I'm fine. I'm fine with him saying, look, when a script is ready, that's when we'll put a movie into production. That makes sense, or in the pre-production. That makes sense. But it was wrong. It was a bad move to say, these are the projects we have lined up. And then however many months later, 20 months later, whatever it's been, to then come out and say, well, yeah, I mean, they're all in development, but if we don't get a script, they're not coming. Like, that's not cool. That's not cool because you get fans excited and you do that. Not cool, man. Not cool. Bad look. Bad look for sure. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right. Where are we at here? Douglas Fryer. Hello. Hi. Still be posting your YouTube clips on Facebook group. Hope it helps. Thank you, Douglas. It does. It does. I get that's fine. Good. Share away, man. Share away. I have no problem with that. And Xander Wild says, can we get a Superman trailer already? I just spilled water all over myself. Go me. Anyways. It's coming, man. It's coming. December we'll get the teaser. Not a trailer, a teaser. Teasers are different than trailers. But yes, December. Triton, being impartial, whether everything else is coming or not, depends on the box office returns for the first few films in this DCU. If they flop, shit is probably going to have to change. Correct, but they have to have things lined up. They have to have scripts. They have to have things ready to go. They can't just not have things in pre-production. Like, you can't sit there and have nothing ready to go. Like, things take time to make. About a year. I mean, let's face it. At best, it takes a year to make a movie. So Superman comes out in July. The following year is Supergirl. And then during that time, you have 2 TV shows as well. So you have 4 projects lined up. Superman comes out, does well. Cool. So in that amount of time, you have to have something ready to go, something planned to be shooting, at least starting to shoot right around the time Superman comes out at the very latest. All right. So production. So when Superman comes out and is a hit, you can say, green light, let's go. So you have that 12 months, at least 12 months time to get that shot, get that edited, get it, production completed. So that comes out a few months after Supergirl's released. So they have to have things ready to go. And you're getting close to that point where it's like, okay, you're getting close to the end of 2024. You're going to want to make sure you have scripts and stuff ready in pre-production. So if July comes and you're like, go, you can go. You can't wait that long. But I understand what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying. But I think they also understand that Superman's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. I don't know what you're saying there. Douglas says, hope Swamp Thing comes out. Me too. I think it would be awesome. I think it should be awesome. Whoa. Matthew says, the only thing Gunn made that severely underperformed was the Suicide Squad. It's the one thing they can point to, and you have to look at when it came out, how badly the first one did with critics. John Rimmer, I don't know. The Captain America Black Panther trailer looked janky. just with lighting. I don't know what. I don't know what you're talking about there. Uh, oh, you're talking about video games. Okay, all right. Otito, James Gunn should direct The Authority, a heroic, extreme, slightly sociopathic Justice League with no limits and a shaky moral code would go hard. He excels at making obscure characters. That is a rumor that he was going to direct The Authority. Apparently, the want is for James Gunn to go Superman, Authority, Justice League, to direct those three. So he would do Superman and then do The Authority. So other directors would direct things between Superman, Authority, and Justice League. So he would do those three movies within the first chapter. All the other films within the first chapter would be other directors, but he would direct those three in that first chapter. That is the rumor that I heard. Whether that is how that plays out, I don't know. Johnny Dome says, "Did you hear the rumor that the Wonder Woman game might be reworked for the DCU?" I did not hear that, but that kind of makes sense. All right, I want to move on to my last thing here. Same topic, essentially, but James Gunn has stated that the assembly cut for Superman was done long ago. And the reason why I bring this up is because I want people to understand how an assembly cut works. Okay. An assembly cut is not a finished cut, it is not even near being a finished cut of the movie. An assembly cut is basically a rough cut of a film. It is a cut of a film where you can sit there and you can piece together. It's basically the film and you can sit there and watch it with incomplete special effects, but you get the gist of the story. You get the movie. It is the movie. You can sit there and watch it start to finish, and you can say, "Wow, that's what the movie is." That's basically what the assembly cut is. And with how long they were filming the movie, and remember, James Gunn and his editing team are able to edit during that time, as well as post production is going on while they're filming it. You know, there's a lot that was probably done in that assembly cut. That's fine. Not to mention that they can use the assembly cut to, finagle and figure out, okay, what kind of shots do we want here? That's an assembly cut also helps them determine what kind of potential reshoots, pickups they need to do. I should say pickups, not reshoots, but that's kind of what an assembly cut is. It is not a finished. There were some people I saw thinking that it's an assembly cut is like the final cut before the finished film, and it's not. It's not. I mean, it's not a like it's not like like a completely rough copy. It's not like unedited completely, but an assembly cut is you edit the film to get a feel for what the movie's gonna be. It's kind of like what you can put together and you can show it to producers, you can show it to executives and say, hey, this is kind of what the film is. That's what an assembly cut is. And yeah, I mean, again, it's not hard to put an assembly cut together if you know what you're doing, if you're doing it while you're going along filming the movie. So the fact that it was done long ago is not surprising at all, because they could have had that done with how they were filming and how James Gunn works. That's something that could have been done a few weeks after they were done shooting the movie, essentially. So a lot of people who are just like, oh crap, this is crazy. Again, Zack Snyder's the same type of, Christopher Nolan can do the same type of thing. Steven Spielberg can do the same type of thing. Any director can do that in the same amount of time. It just depends on how they film and how they edit and how closely they are involved with the filming and editing process of a film. It just depends on how they handle it. That's all. But it's exciting for sure. It's exciting. It absolutely is exciting. All right. So let's start wrapping this up, guys. And we'll go through a few comments here for the next few minutes, and then we'll wrap this up. Let's see. Hope for Life says, I know I skipped a bunch of comments. I apologize, but again, let me know if to make sure that I get comments. If there's comments you really want, I do encourage you, to support my channel, super chats, and I will definitely get your chat then as well. But okay, Hope for Life says, do you think we'll get a Superman poster at CCXP? That I could see that. I could see a poster with a teaser. Typically, when they do a teaser, they'll have a teaser poster of sorts. So I could see that happening. Triton says, I hope Gunn and his DCU stays the hell away from both Wonder Woman game and Injustice 3. Those are the only upcoming DC things I care about. Plus, DC really needs a great video game. Man. I mean, I don't really care about the Wonder Woman game Injustice is a cool series, but it's kind of played out at this point. And Wonder Woman game, I'm sure it'll be fun. I haven't seen enough of it, and it's been a while since they've really talked about it at all, so not really. Xander says if we get an official poster soon, or if we get an official poster soon with an official teaser trailer soon, then that would be the start of hype. Yes. Matthew got assembly cut is all the footage, usually with no Foley, green screens on set audio, temp track music, if any CG at all. It's previs. Exactly. John Rimmer, I wish the DCU would cast younger actors for both Hal and Guy. I really don't like the 50 age range. Hey, let's just wait and see how it all plays. Because I think that's what's going to be the deciding factor. I'm excited for Stewart. He plays. Johnny Dome, James Gunn and Mia Healy followed each other, so people think she might be casted as something. Yeah, I saw that. Had somebody share that with me, actually. I don't know who she could be playing. No idea. Could be interesting. Triton says, off to bed, toodles, and of course, restore this first. See ya, Triton. See ya. Yeah, it could be interesting for sure. I don't know who she could play. I really don't know. I don't know. Not sure. I'm sure we'll find out soon enough if she is actually cast as something. But again, if she's cast as something, it has to be in Lanterns. Unless it's something in Supergirl. There's the only two things in pre-production, remember? There's the only two things in pre-production. Go up through here. Anything that I miss? I don't think I missed anything. It's a good show, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This week, let me just cover this stuff real quick. Well, first off, I want to thank my member shout out. My member shout outs, just a guy on YouTube and Goober316. Thank you so much for being a supporter of the channel. And you too could be a member of the channel. $2.99 a month. Support me. I do have a member only live show coming up on October 26th. It's going to be real chill and hang out where you guys can just come and hang out and we'll just BS and talk about anything. It's not going to be like this. We're just going to hang out and talk about whatever you want. You guys can even join me here. You don't need to be in the chat. I'll have a link where you can join video chat. Whatever it is you guys want to talk about, you guys can talk about. Should be a fun time. But this coming Thursday is the next Watchtower, next DC Watchtower topic. Again, 2 years in, the good, the bad, the ugly. James Gunn, Peter Safran, this November 1st will be 2 years since they have taken over DC content in DC Studios, specifically DC Studios. So we're going to talk about what has been the good, what has been the bad, what has been the ugly since they've taken over. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all things DC, of course. So make sure you don't miss it because I think it'll be a good show. I want to hear what you guys have to say and think. It's going to be driven by you. It's going to be driven by you. It's going to be a good episode, I think. So make sure you come by this Thursday, 8:30 p.m. Thursday, 8:30 p.m., guys. Don't miss it. That's when the show will be. All right. That's it. Thank you all so much for watching tonight. It was a good show. I enjoyed it. With all that said, I guess I'll catch you all later.